next, let's queer up trans right. Voter ID laws could prevent transgender Americans from voting. According to a new report by the Williams Institute, strict voter identification laws in several states could disenfranchise over 210,000 transgender Americans in the upcoming November elections. These individuals who lack identity documents that match their gender face challenges in states that require in-person voting and rigid photo ID policies. Among the hardest hit states are Kansas, Wisconsin, Indiana, Ohio, and Georgia, where nearly 91,300 transgender voters are at risk of being excluded from casting ballots due to stringent photo ID requirements. Voters without proper identification must vote provisionally, but many states require submitting an ID after Election Day for the vote to count. Jody L. Herman, the report's co-author, says voter ID laws can create a unique barrier to voting for a substantial number of transgender people. States such as Texas and Florida add to the difficulty by preventing transgender individuals from updating gender markers on key documents. Despite these barriers, LGBTQ voters remain highly motivated, with the March survey from GLAAD showing 83% of respondents definitely planning to vote. This is nothing but the same old playbook: voter disenfranchisement, voter suppression. This is something that has been going on since the history of voting. I think that an ID is maybe important to verify who you are, but checking on if they're male or female, it has nothing to do with casting a ballot and casting a vote. It's just nothing but another way to just disenfranchise tax-paying citizens, by the way, from exercising their right to vote. I mean, I'm sure this will be struck down I'm sure this can be.
Well said. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. There's no unclear terms. This is disenfranchisement. And there's such a long history. I love how you put it that way. And I mean, I'm trying to find the kind of silver lining in all of this. And that last part where they're like, well, the people are determined to vote. And that gives me a kind of glimmer of hope that is like, you can't, and hopefully some of these kind of things will get struck down. But that is until then, you show, I remember when I first moved to Massachusetts, I lived in Massachusetts for 10 years, having grown up in Florida. I showed them my ID and they all looked at me like I was nuts. Right? Like that is, I mean, also I'm nuts, but like, that is, there's certain stories and they tend to be, like most of them are former Confederate states. Like there's lots of kind of associations with like disenfranchisement and voting today that continues and persists. And you could see remnants of it in these kinds of laws that now are transphobic. And I mean, it's just...
You wouldn't see it in Massachusetts, though.
Massachusetts looked at me like I was nuts. And I was like, look, an ID.
Well, when it's fighting too with just over 50 days left until the most consequential election of our lifetimes. Just so hopefully this will be straightened out in time.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. Because
but also
vote.
But it's important to do your homework and make sure that you meet the requirements and you are registered to vote.
Of course.
So do your homework now.
Yeah.
It's 53 days. The clock is ticking.
Every couple of months, I just run my name through the logs to make sure that I'm still on the rolls, because sometimes I've heard that people have been purged from the rolls.
Well, look at Texas. They purged.
So you got to make sure.
But keep in mind, in Texas, 990,000 of them were because of decease or they moved out of state, and the other 4% were because of errors in records. So, but you still have to check.
Yeah.
Still check.